Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I know I've been gone for a minute, but there's been a lot of expanded stuff going on and I'm trying to put myself into a position because there's just so much to talk about in expanded. But when we have the next round of expanded things that happen, I'm definitely going to cover it. I'm going to do a market watch post, what was the regionals that just took place? Post Missouri regionals so that you guys can figure out what cards to pick up and what cards to probably sell. But right now we're going to look at this new card that was revealed today, Aqua Patch, and it's causing for a lot of discussion. And usually I don't review every card that comes out, but I feel like this one is one that I really wanted to talk about and touch bases on. So obviously let's get into it. All right, so Aqua Patch. So the effect, we already are, very familiar with this effect. It says attach a basic water energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench water Pokemon. Of course, you can play as many item cards as you'd like. And this card is kind of like similar to Dark Patch. Well, it's basically the same thing except for water Pokemon. Now, Dark Patch, if you have not been playing this game very long or you weren't playing when it was first released, Dark Patch was a very impactful card. It basically turned the format on its head when it came out and gave us a completely new format to play in because Darkrai was just that impactful of a deck. Now, a lot of people are speculating that Aqua Patch is going to do the same thing, and so in this video I'm going to kind of look at whether or not that is actually going to happen, in my opinion. Now, the thing about water type, it already has some good things going for it. They already have Dive Ball, they have Rough Seas, which are two very good cards. Dive Ball is basically like an Ultra Ball, well, not even, it's like, what was the card we used to have in the past? I think it was like was it even Premier Ball? Luxury Ball. It's like a Luxury Ball for water Pokemon. You can just search your deck for any water Pokemon. Rough Seas, you can heal 30 damage from each of your water Pokemon every turn. It's a really, really good card. Really good stadium. So a lot of people are kind of flipping out because they're like, okay, well, water already has all this other good support, and now we're getting this Aqua Patch to go along with everything. So of course it's going to be a good deck. Now, a lot of people are talking about Primarina. Let me just get this out of the way first. Do I think Primarina is going to be a good deck in Standard? No, to be honest, I don't. I don't think that it's going to be worth playing, and I'll cover that in a minute. But at the same time, you have this Pokemon. It's definitely not worth playing in Standard. In Expanded, because Darkrai already does the same thing. Darkrai from Breakpoint already does the same thing, and it basically does it better in the Standard. In the expanded format. But in Standard Primarina, it's just not worth the trouble trying to get a stage 2 out and then trying to Dark Patch to it. I mean, it has a big body, but there are so many checks and counters to Primarina that I don't think it's going to be very good. So I'll just get that out of the way now. And I think that's another reason, a lot of people feel like that's going to be a good deck, so they're kind of hyping. The hype is going even further, and a lot of people like the Pokemon Primarina. I think that it has potential to be good at a later date, but as of now, I don't think Primarina is going to do much. Alright, so is it going to impact Standard? Alright, so the first thing I want to look at are the two main attackers that kind of define these two cards upon their release. So we have Lapras GX and then we have Darkrai EX. And I understand that these are two different formats, but you have to understand the power, the impact of the cards at the time they were printed. So we have Lapras GX with Blizzard Burn. This Pokemon can attack during your next turn. It has Collect. It does 160. It has 190 HP. Darkrai only has 180. Ice Beam GX. It can automatically freeze, so it has 3 attacks. But Darkrai has Night Spear, and Night Spear is a really good attack. 90-30. Damage, and then it also has Dark Cloak, which was huge. Dark Cloak was a big ability because it allowed you to play a lot of different techs. It allowed you to give free retreat between Darkrai's. When you were Dark Patching, it allowed you to attack on the first turn much easier because you could attach your active patch a couple of times. Now, we do currently have Manaphy, so it's like Darkrai kind of gave you the best of both worlds. It gave you a good attacker and it gave you that ability, whereas Lapras, it gives you a bit more attacks, but you have to rely on having Manaphy out in order to really do anything with it. And if I recall correctly, Darkrai wasn't met with, we have Garb in the current format, and Garb is a big deal. We have no tool removal. Darkrai really didn't have to deal with that. And Manaphy being online is a big requirement in those water decks. All right, we also have this Alolan Ninetales that has been revealed. But I'm just going to say Lapras GX is no Darkrai EX. And I think that it's not going to, with Lapras being our main attacker, we need something a bit better than Lapras. I'm just going to say it right now. And again, I'll explain some of the checks that the deck has in a minute as to why I don't feel like it's going to be as impactful as Darkrai was. Now, we do have this Alolan Ninetales GX that was revealed, and it can use Dark Patch. It does Ice Blade, 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance. Okay, that's a cute attack. Blizzard Edge, 160, discard 2 energy attached. Okay, that has nice synergy, but then, you have to get it to the bench to attach those if you want to patch to it. Clear Gate, GX. Now, this is a really good GX attack. Move all damage counters from this Pokemon to your opponent's active. I like Ninetales in the fact that it is weak to Metal, which is not a big type right now. I think Solgaleo is Metal, and it already one-shots not Alolan Ninetales, so it's kind of like, okay. So I do like its weakness, but at the same time, I don't feel like its attacks are very good. Clear Gate GX is good. Really, really good. But Blizzard Edge, you can do 160. I guess you can retreat to another Ninetales on the bench, free retreat back with Manaphy, and attack again for 160. But two-shotting for 160 is just a bit excessive, right? 160 doesn't kind of hit those numbers that you want to. We do have Choice Band coming out in the next set, which will allow you to hit 190, so that might be a thing. But as of now, I don't see, and Ninetales is a stage 1, I don't see it being that amazing. All right, and then here's another thing. We have grass Pokemon in the format right now that are really, really good. Lurantis and Decidueye totally destroy water decks. Lurantis can Flower Supply, which is basically, double patching in one attack. It has Solar Blade, Chloro Scythe, just in case it doesn't have those 3 energies. It can knock you out for 2. It has healing inside, so it doesn't really care about your Rough Seas because it's one-shotting you anyway. And then we have Decidueye, which Razor Leaf does 180, plus a Feather Arrow, that's 200. That's already knocking out most Lapras fight. They have 2 Decidueye out, that's 220. Which doesn't get around the band, but doesn't get around Expert Belt. So that might be your saving grace, but Decidueye is still, you're not one-shotting Decidueye, so it's still a really good counter. Plus, it's usually played with, what is the Pokemon? Vileplume, which is going to shut down your Diaballs and shut down your Aqua Patches. So I don't think that matchup is very good in particular, and I think the Decidueye deck is getting a lot more popular. And then we had Terrakion back with Darkrai, but the difference between these counters is that Terrakion was something that you could have played in your Darkrai deck, and it just fit seamlessly because you were able to put a Darkness Energy on it and, free retreat with it, and you could just attach that fighting energy and you could counter opposing Darkrai. So that kind of made the meta even more restricted because it was kind of like, okay, nobody's going to dedicate themselves to playing a straight fighting deck because at the time, we had Tornadoes, we had some good cards that had fighting resistance. So nobody's going to dedicate themselves to playing a strict fighting deck. So, everybody's playing Darkrai, but then at the same time, in order to counter those other Darkrai's, you could put in Terrakion. In this format, I can play, Volcanion is kind of falling off. So it's like I can play my grass deck, not, just pretty much for the most part dodge the Volcanion matchups, which Volcanion is probably going to die even further because of this hype associated with these water decks, and I can play my grass deck and just dominate the field. And I think that's honestly what a lot of people are going to think and what is going to happen. Unless, people try to counter the counter and then start running Volcanion. I don't know. I think that sounds a bit ridiculous because Volcanion is just not very good in Standard. I don't think that, I think the results have shown for itself. Volcanion has yet to win a Standard Regional. I think it rarely even top 4s. All right. So, now, what about Expanded? The thing about Expanded is we have Dark Patch and Expanded. So, yeah, there are some water cards, though, that are really good, like Seismitoad. Okay, with this water patch and Expanded, turn 1 Quaking Punch is so much easier. Like, all you have to honestly do is get 1 water energy in the discard, have Seismitoad on your bench, find a way to retreat. I mean, And in addition to having DCEs in your deck, you have another way to get that turn 1 Quaking Punch, and I think that is going to be huge for Expanded. And again, if Seismitoad EX was in our our standard format, I think the deck would be just a lot better. We saw Water Toolbox was really, really good in Expanded. They were playing at the end of last season, and I think this card is going to kind of wake that deck back up a lot. Water has so many different tools. You can also reliably use Archie's Ace in the Hole. I don't know how good it's going to be, but there are probably there's like so many water Pokemon that you can probably play with an Expanded. I think that those are going to be a saving grace. But other than that, Dark Patch just does everything better. You have Yveltal EX, which is an amazing card that can use Dark Patch. Which is better than most water Pokemon that you want to play, you know, aside from Seismitoad. And then you have Darkrai EX, which has Dark Pulse. And then, you know, you combine that with Max Elixir and Dark Patch. We already saw that doing really well in expanded tournaments as it is. So it's kind of like, you know, if you want to try to play like Primarina with Archies, it's kind of like, okay, but I could just play Darkrai EX and have a more consistent deck. And I can Max Elixir to my Darkrai, plus I can Dark Patch. So I don't know if it's going to be that defining, you know, meta defining. And plus, as I just stated before with the grass Pokemon, they are playing that currently in expanded. Lawrence's Vileplume was big. Kedler, shouts out to Kedler. He just got second place with Decidueye Vileplume. So yeah, and expanded, I think it's going to, you know, people are going to try to play around with it. It might open up some new strategies, but it just seems like, you know, Dark does what the deck wants to do, and it can do it even better. Alright, so thank you for watching. One thing I do want to note, though, is that we have not received a Tapu Fini GX. And I think I'm feeling in my bones that when Tapu Fini GX is released, that's when we can start the hype. I'm hoping. Because we already know it's not going to have a weakness, because none of the Tapu Pokemon so far have had a weakness. Bulu and Coco were pretty mediocre. Lele was good, so maybe Fini is going to be that missing piece. So, you know, keep looking out for the spoilers. Maybe we'll get a Tapu Fini spoiled, and maybe that is going to be the card that's going to break the Aqua patch for standard and maybe even both formats. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.